Hey guys, welcome back to Flip Video. Before we begin the video tonight, I need to make sure that you have your notes that I gave you in class today, as well as the foldable and slope man. When we are done with the video tonight, make sure you have glued those in, and I will tell you the order in a little while, before you come to class on Monday. Also, you need to make sure you pay attention to the website and make sure that there's only one video. There might be two, like I told you in class today. I'm not sure, and I won't know until the very end if I run out of time. So if you're ready and you have your notes ready, let's go ahead and get started. Tonight's video, or this weekend's video, is going to be looking back at linear functions. Know that linear functions are your straight lines. Okay, and you can find those in tables, graphs, equations, and situations, and that's what we're going to practice today. All right, so rate of change. Find the change in y over the change in x. This is something that you started or you learned in seventh grade. Your x is over here, so we're going to do change in x over here and change in y over here. So the difference between -2 and 0 is a +2. 0 and 2 is a +2. 2 and 3 is a +1. 3 and 8 is a +5. So let's go ahead and do change in y. -10 to -6 is +4. -6 to -2 is +4. -2 to 0 is +2. 0 to 10 is +10. So our rate of change would be 4 divided by 2 equals 2. That takes care of this one and this one. 2 divided by 1 equals 2. And 10 divided by 5 equals 2. So our rate of change is 2. We know, or you should know, that the rate of change equals 2, and that is what you multiply by x. So our process would be 2 times -2 is -4, but I know I need to get to -10, so I'm going to subtract 6 more. So we have 2 times 0 is 0, but I know I need to get to -6, so I'm going to subtract 6. And it's going to be the same all the way down. 2 times 2 minus 6 got me -2. 2 times 3 minus 6 would get me 0. 2 times 8 minus 6 would get me 10. So our process is 2x minus 6 equals y, and this would be your equation. So write the equation that represents the relationship between x and y, and we just did that. Y equals 2x minus 6. And is it linear? Yes, it's linear because it's a straight line. Has a straight line and a constant rate of change. Make sure you are taking these notes. So graph this relationship. Here's your x, this is your run, and here's your y, and that is going to be your jump. So I'm going to run to -2 and jump to -10 and put a dot. I'm going to run to 0 and jump to -6, run to 2, jump to -2, run to 3, jump to 0, run to 8, jump to 10. Right, and then you connect your lines. I cannot draw straight lines for the life of me. So there's our graph. The question asks, should the points be connected? Why or why not? Is this relationship proportional? How do you know? Yes, connected, because we don't know the scenario. All right, and is this relation proportional? No. How do you know? Because it doesn't go through the origin. All right, so what is the rise over run ratio between any 2 points on the graph? Remember, rate of change is just another fancy way of saying slope. So what are the other names for this ratio? Slope, rate of change. What value in the equation represents the slope? It's also known as the little b, right? So 2 is the slope. And we will review that this is the slope and this is the y-intercept. Where does the graph cross the y-axis? Remember, this is y and this is x. So you're looking at right here. According to the table, you know your x has to be 0. So our point would be -6, or 0, -6. And what value in the equation represents the y-intercept? -6. Notice that they match. So on the table, you're looking where x equals 0, and on the graph, you're looking where x equals 0. You haven't gone right or left. So in a situation, Joanna opened a savings account with $50 she received for her birthday. She plans to deposit an additional $10 into the account each month. So complete the table and write an equation to represent the situation. So number of months is going to be your independent variable. Total number of savings. All right, and in this situation, it told you, she said she opened it with 50. So our process is going to be plus 50. And then how many months? So $10 times 0 months is 0, so plus 50 would get us 50. $10 per month, if 1, plus 50 would get us 60. $10 times 2 plus 50 would be 70. $10 times 3 plus 50 gets you to 80. I'm sorry, this should be 6. Sorry guys, that's why I say you need to make sure you pay attention to the table. So that's 110. $10 times 12 is 120 plus 50 is 170. So write an equation. We know that it's going to be 10x plus 50 equals y. So your equation is y equals 10x plus 50. Or it could be 50 plus 10x. You need to know that they can be write it any way. So what quantity in the situation represents the rate of change? Well, rate of change in y, is going to be 10, 10, 40, 60. Change in x is going to be 1, 1, 4, 6. And if you take any of those, I'm going to do this one. 60 divided by 6 equals 10. So what quantity in the situation represents the rate of change? $10 per month. And what quantity in the situation represents the constant? Well, it's 50 because that's the starting point. Okay, so let's talk about this one. Okay, we need to graph it. So 0, 50, 1, 60, 2, 70, 6, 110, 12, 170. Now, we are not going to connect these lines, and it says why is the graph not a solid line? It's because we're talking about money. Money cannot be broken down into little pieces. Okay? So in a situation, Joanna opened a savings account. We've talked about that. What quantity in the situation represents the slope of the line containing these points? That would be the $10 per month. What does the slope represent in this situation? The amount, money added per month. What quantity in the situation represents the y-intercept? The starting amount. Or starting amount would answer this one. And the amount is $50. So, on your green foldable, I believe, you need to label. It should say variable quantity here, variable quantity here. This is the slope, and this is the y-intercept. Make sure you hit pause and label that foldable. Now, slope-intercept form. Here are some words that mean slope-intercept form. All right, so we're going to talk about some other words that mean slope. Is the vertical change over the horizontal change on the graph? That would be a true statement. The unit rate would be a true statement. Place where the graph of the line crosses the y-axis, that is false. The constant in the question or in the equation, that would be false. We're talking about the coefficient of the equation. Coefficient, I just said that. Change in y and the change in x, you know that is the same thing as rate of change. So we can go ahead and pull that one. You are writing these words on that foldable. Constant in the process, we already said constant was not valid. Change in y over change in x, we know is the rate of change. Value of y when x equals 0, we know that that is not true. The rise or the run. And then it says the initial amount, flat rate, or service fee. No. So make sure you hit pause and copy all those words. And now we're going to do the same thing with y-intercept. We know that where it crosses the y-axis, we know it's the constant. We know it is the value of y when x equals 0. We know it's the constant in the process column or the table. We know it's the initial amount, flat rate, or service fee. Now, in your ISN, your foldable goes on the next blank page. Then put Mr. Slopeman on the other. This tells you that if it's going up like this, it's positive. If it's going down, it's negative. If it's up and down, it's undefined. And it's horizontal, you know the slope is 0. So let's practice. Write the equation for this relationship. First things first, find this change in y over the change in x. So how did I get from 11 to negative 5? That's going to be minus 16. All right. How did I get from negative 5 to negative 13? Well, you know that is going to be an 8 jump. And you're going down to get smaller, so it's going to be minus 8. How did I get from negative 13 to negative 25? That's minus 12. Do the same thing over here. It's going to be plus 4, plus 2, plus 3. Now, to find the rate of change, which is change in y over change in x, it does not matter which one you choose. I'll choose the middle one this time. So negative 8 divided by 2 equals negative 4. So we have negative 4 times negative 4 is, and I got the second negative 4 from right there, is 16. But I know I need to get to 11, so I'm going to subtract 5. Let's see if it works here. Negative 4 times 0 minus 5 got you to negative 5. So your process is negative 4 times the number of months minus 5. Negative 4 times 5 minus 5. So it's going to be negative 4x minus 5 equals y. Now, there will be a second video, so make sure you continue taking notes on the second video.